Welcome to this week's edition of Talk with Confidence. This is where we have inspirational conversations with inspirational people. Today I have a truly inspirational guest in studio with us. Her name is Lieutenant Colonel Mmathapelo Maine, and she's the author of a book titled I Will Not Lose. Lieutenant Colonel, welcome.
Thank you so much, Confidence. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Before we get into the book, I just want to find out a little bit about yourself. Your upbringing, where did you grow up, your parents, etc.
Confidence, I was born and bred in Hammanskraal. That is in Themba, 43 years ago.
So you're one of those, you know, it's always tricky with women. I never ask, yes. So it's always better when it comes from them.
Yes.
This is X number.
Exactly. Yes, 43 years ago.
Okay.
My father, my late father, China Jeremiah Ntlatleng. My mother is Grace Ntlatleng, and I have two siblings. A younger brother and younger sister. I lost my elder sister. That was in 2010. That's when I lost my elder sister. 2012, sorry. 2012. Yeah, 2012, yes.
All right. So we're looking at you. We had a conversation some time back, and you said when you're wearing the uniform, it's not so much about you, but about the uniform.
About the organization.
The Defense Force. So can you tell us about your entry into the Defense Force? What was your inspiration? Just your early days in the Defense Force.
Okay, Confidence. Growing up, I never aspired or think in that line of joining the SNDF.
Okay.
Yes, my mind or my aspirations were actually with the South African Police Service.
Okay.
Yes, I even following a matric, I registered with the UNISA. Studied police science, of which I didn't complete the qualification because later on I joined the Defense Force.
Okay.
So my heart was really with the SAPS.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I had a friend studying with me outside who joined the Defense Force. So seeing her in uniform, Mbogodo, in camouflage, ready to fight, ready to defend the country, volunteering her services in defense of this country. I got so inspired and I applied. My first application wasn't successful, but because I really wanted to join this organization, I tried again. The second one was successful, and I commenced my training. That was in 1999 in 3 Sai Battalion. Yeah, it is somewhere in the Northern Cape, in Kimberley to be specific. That's where I did my training. Yes. And today I'm a very proud soldier. You know, when I talk about this organization, when I talk about this uniform, really I'm a proud soldier. I don't regret my decision to join this organization, to an extent that I don't see myself anywhere except for in the SNDF. Yes, that's where I belong. My heart is with the military.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Now, as a soldier, soldiers are trained for battle.
Yes.
And in this book, you've tackled a different kind of battle.
Yes.
And the subline says, "Reflections on my battle with cancer." In the book, you mentioned that there was a history of cancer in your family, and you talk quite specifically about your father. Can you tell us about his battle with cancer and your relationship with him?
Okay. My late father, China Jeremiah Ntlatleng, may his beautiful soul rest in eternal peace. He succumbed to cancer. That was in 2004. Unfortunately for him, or fortunately, I'm not sure, when he died, he wasn't even aware that he had cancer. Because with cancer, there are battle indications. One can experience some form of indications that there's a problem, but often we unconsciously choose to ignore the same. We take things lightly to say it's one of those complaints, it shall pass. Only to find that behind those complaints are serious complications. That's what happened with my father. So Papa complained of constipation, chest pain, lost appetite. My father used to be fresh like you. Yes, he used to be fresh like you. He was a giant. Yes, but gradually he lost weight. But still, we didn't pay sufficient attention. We got worried. We were very concerned, but we never pursued to find out what the problem really was. And that we are currently sitting with regrets, because we think that something could have been done perhaps to save him medically. But then unfortunately or fortunately for me, I went on deployment. That was when his condition was really not satisfactory, but it wasn't that bad. Then I had to come back because he had deteriorated seriously. So I came back 2 days before his passing. I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't my father who was lying on that deathbed. Yeah, he was so thin, and I could feel the pain from a distance. I could see that he was suffering. I could see that he wouldn't dare to choose death over this illness, because he was really suffering. It was pain that you could feel, that you could sense. And at that time, he couldn't even communicate with us, because he had experienced a stroke in addition to cancer. So my mother explained that they had found out that he had a lung cancer. He had been dealing with the lung cancer, and then he wasn't going to make it. Unfortunately, he passed on. That was somewhere in May, if I'm not mistaken, the 8th of May in 2004. That's when I lost my father. So cancer it's a serious battle that we are dealing with. I normally tell people that COVID is a concern and people are not taking it serious. So it applies to cancer. It is conceivable that cancer gradually is really dealing with us, harshly so. Often these days we hear of people who lost colleagues to cancer, who lost families to cancer. It's something that we hear often, unlike previously. Previously we never used to hear about this condition a lot. But these days it's rife, it's real, and it's a serious battle that one has to really gear up and fight with everything that you have in order to overcome this. I must say that fighting cancer requires a mental resilience. You need to be strong here psychologically, because sometimes you find that due to the disquiet, anxiety, the worry, you strain your health, your immune system gets so compromised, and it becomes a challenge for one to fight. So one needs to gear up. One needs to be psychologically ready to fight, and one needs to be faithful and hopeful that cancer can be beaten.
What gives you that hope? I mean, as you said, or as you alluded to, cancer has become synonymous with death.
Yes.
Immediately when somebody hears that so and so has got cancer, the first thing they think will be the next phone call will be of them. The burial details. So what has given you the confidence and the belief that indeed you will not lose?
First thing first, quite important with cancer is early diagnosis. Once diagnosed early, you would find out that your prognosis is actually good. That's the first thing, and naturally it gives you hope.
Yes.
Yeah, it gives you hope. Not saying that late diagnosis there's no hope. I mean, life belongs to the Almighty.
Yes.
I know of people who had been diagnosed with for stage 4 cancer, but they are still alive today. Yes, but with early diagnosis there's actually hope. So hence I would encourage us to do examinations as required. Self-breast examination, go for your screening. Even males, I know you people, you don't want to do screening. You don't want to do screening. And then we don't have a choice. We must really do our part. You know, the worst thing, I normally tell people, the worst thing that can happen with cancer is to be told that there's nothing we can do anymore. And you know that you had not done your part. Had you done your part, perhaps the situation could have turned out better. So do your part so that one doesn't sit with regret, looking at your children, looking at your family, to say you would be leaving them behind because you failed to do your part. Doing self-examination, going for screening is not only about you, it's about your kids, it's about your family, so that the one doesn't depart when there was still time for them to leave.
When there was a chance that they could be saved.
Exactly. So one must really do their part. So what really gave me hope was to know first thing that early diagnosis, good chances for me to survive. Secondly, to say, you know, with faith, you can achieve so much. To say, God, you are going to do it for me, and He has done it for me. Yes, you know, sometimes when we pray, you need to be specific. Tell God what you really want. Now I told God that really my son is 14. I want to see him marrying. I want to see him graduating. I want him to invite him to his house. So I need to live long enough to
see all of those.
So I was very specific with the Almighty. I didn't take short. So He has done it for me. But I want to encourage people that cancer can be beaten. But we really, we don't have a choice, but we must do our part.
Just on that note, doing your part, what was your journey from non-diagnosis to diagnosis? So the journey to you being told that, ma'am, you've got cancer. What was that journey just from a diagnosis point of view?
You know, those who have read my book and those who are still going to read it, they will find out more about the same. But I will say briefly that you know, the power of a tongue. It was like I've put a curse on myself by saying, uttering a statement carelessly, so not even meaning it, and at the end of the day, it was like I've cursed myself. That's how my journey unfolded. That's the first thing. Few months before my diagnosis, I remember talking to one of my friends, Colonel Mmathapelo Maine, telling her that, you know, in life we often cherish things that really don't have value. We put expensive price tags on things that really don't have value. I said to her, you know, you can have everything, but if you are not well, if your health is not okay, you whatever that you have means nothing. That's how I see it. Health first, then the rest. Yes. So with my diagnosis, I used to exercise a lot. I used to run even marathons. Yes, not a long distance, 12 kilometers.
Not comrades.
No, not that one. But I used to be fit. I could run, and I felt healthy. I couldn't feel any serious symptom. Yes, but until I saw a lump. That was not even painful at all. I saw a lump that was in the morning preparing for work, bathing. Then, like I said, we must do our part. I did my part. I went to report sick, and then later on I had to be sent for further investigation. That is mammogram, where they take breast imaging to detect any abnormalities in the breast. So with that test, it was recommended that I go for further test, that is biopsy. They take a small sample of tissue from the suspicious lump, and then they send it to the lab to confirm if it's cancer or not. Then unfortunately mine was cancer, but the good news, early diagnosis. That's why at least there's still a breast. There's still a breast, both breasts. Yes, but had it happened otherwise, I would have lost a breast, but I would have been grateful that I'm still
alive.
Yes, so one cannot even complain about the breast. I remember following my diagnosis, my husband even said to me, cut both breasts because they are useless to me because they are not doing any good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Better to have you alive
than yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Your journey of dealing with cancer.
Yes.
I'm sure you've mentioned your father. So you've dealt with both loss and victory.
Yes.
I'm sure there are many other warriors who you've encountered who also have won the battle. So there's two people I want us to talk about. One who unfortunately succumbed to cancer, and the other who won the battle and continues to win. So the first one, there's a lady, Tammy, who you dedicate a section of the book towards. Can you tell us about her and her particular battle with cancer?
Oh, my sister Tammy Nwango. She was a dear sister to me. I met Tammy, that was in 2019. Yeah, late in 2019. We met through the same journey. And then early last year, fortunately, we were admitted in one meal together, so we shared a ward. So through that we became very, very close because we could talk about our challenges, our plights with this condition, where we found ourselves having that feeling of despondence, dejection. We could share the same, we could comfort one another, so we became very close. And Tammy was ready to fight this cancer, this intruder. She was battle ready, mentally and otherwise. But unfortunately, physically, with cancer, you can try and try and try, but the battle is not always easy to win. So she had aspiration. She even planned to register a non-profit organization. When I told her that at that time I was in a process of registering my own, she had aspiration to be well and give back to the community and raise cancer awareness. So she fought and fought and fought. I remember we used to pray together, but she used to pray more than I pray. Around 3 o'clock in the morning, she would wake up and pray. She would wake up and talk to the Almighty. She was very faithful. I remember there was a time when she was admitted and she was in coma. I'm speaking under correction, I think, for 4 weeks. And then she woke up. She came back to life. She was okay.
Back from the dead almost.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
I was so happy when she called to say, here I am. So I felt that really we are winning. Me and her, we are winning the battle. But unfortunately, gradually, her health deteriorated. I remember her calling me often, complaining about the pains, saying to me that I cannot pray anymore. And in retrospect of what used to happen, looking at her that she cannot do what she used to do best, praying, she was almost in a verge of giving up. I tried my best to comfort, to encourage, but it became heavier and heavier towards the end. I remember the last time I spoke to her, that was on the 1st of December last year. She had a medical appointment, and then she called me to say it didn't go well. Apparently this cancer is spreading. Actually, she didn't call, she sent a message. I tried to call, she didn't take the call, but she sent a WhatsApp. So I tried to call back, I couldn't get hold of her. So I took it that she needed space to deal with the news. So mine was to respect that and see how best can I be supportive, even through prayers. Yes, pray for her health, pray for her family. Because she used to tell me that, I worry of my kids because the pain that they are enduring because of my condition, it's sometimes overwhelming. So unfortunately, around the 7th of December, if I'm correct, we lost her. The news really, I was broken. And unfortunately, I couldn't even attend the funeral because my own immune system was extremely compromised. So I had to follow the advice of my oncologist to say, Dr. Carlo, I had to follow his advice to say, stay away from the crowd because your immune system is too compromised. So I couldn't even attend the funeral, but I managed to write the letter, and it was read during the funeral service where I said my goodbyes to Tammy.
And you also honored her in the book.
Yes, I did that. But she was aware of the book, and we used to talk about it a lot. She used to say, I can't wait for the book to be out, because I had to request permission to use her picture in the book. Her being a person who was willing to raise awareness, to make others aware of this cancer. She even gave me permission to write about her experience with cancer, and you see the section dedicated to her.
Now, the other sister, who is also a blood sister of yours, can you tell us about her?
Yes, Ausmusinya Rakumako, she corrected me to say the spelling in the book.
I want the Sepedi spelling.
The Sepedi spelling.
Yeah.
Yes, Ausmusinya, that one. Shame, by God's grace, she's a very, very strong person, and she's one of those strong survivors that really we can use to draw inspiration from. She was diagnosed with cancer 10 years back, I have to say. Stage 2 or stage 3 cancer, I cannot recall. She says it was a very difficult battle. Like I said earlier on, it's not an easy battle. And with chemotherapy, mine wasn't that harsh, but others, they find it very difficult. But regardless of the difficulty, we are encouraged to receive treatment in order to fight this condition. So she went through the process. I remember she warned me, following my diagnosis, before I could even commence with chemo. She warned me that, my sister, you will lose that hair of yours, because I had dreadlocks. She says they just fell like that. Yeah, they just fell. So she fought, and after treatment, rigorous treatment, she was cleared. To date, she's still strong. She's almost 60 years old. She's in her late 50s. She's about to go on pension, but you think that she's 35 years old. But I can encourage us, including myself, because I'm struggling with that diet. I like sweet things, I like nice food, and those are not good for my body. So with her, she's very strict on diet. She eats healthy. Perhaps it's one of the things that helps with her maintaining that survival status, because she eats healthy, she exercises a lot, and she's a prayer warrior. So she's a very strong woman, and I know that she's still going to live many, many more years as a survivor.
Wonderful.
By God's grace, yes.
By God's grace. You mentioned briefly with our Tammy that she thought most about her children. Now, when one is diagnosed with cancer, as you were, what is the impact that it has, especially on children? And you also mentioned your husband, but on the family, whether it's just the nuclear family or the extended family as a whole. What is the impact that normally takes place?
Yeah, generally it has a very serious and negative impact on the family, because then we find ourselves in a very unfamiliar terrain, trying to navigate and struggling to do so. But I can say how we choose to deal with it differs from one family to the next. With other families, they come even closer, they become more supportive, they become like strong. But with others, you find that it becomes a challenge. It becomes a challenge whereby you find that you expect your spouse to be there, to be supportive. With some, they find that the expectations does not really conform to the reality. Yes, but it wasn't the case. My husband had been very supportive until the day I was cleared of cancer. Uleboge McDonald Maine, Habi was very, very supportive, and I'm grateful to that. So I would say Confidence, as a cancer patient or oncology patient, you need all the support you can get. Your children, sometimes when they are too small to understand, they might even struggle at school. Yeah, because they see you struggling from this chemotherapy treatment, struggling with this and that. Sometimes it might be so serious that it affects them academically. But with elder children, with understanding, they can come as a support structure. They can be very helpful to their parents. I've seen children, helping their parents, bringing goodies to their parents while admitted in hospital, taking turns to accompany their parents to the hospital. And you need that support. I'll even say with friends, I'll even go further to say, even with friends, you need friends who will say, today I'm accompanying you to the hospital for this medical appointment. I'm driving you. Fortunately with me, I had colleagues who had been very helpful. Lieutenant Colonel Maine, Lieutenant Colonel Ntule. I remember Maine once came with one officer who they came to because I had a medical appointment on that day. They came to take me to the hospital. Makele, Lieutenant Colonel Makele, they even took me back home. So you need that kind of support because my spouse was not around, so I relied on them for support. You need friends who will call you often, Colonel Maswangan, to say, how are you holding up? Are you winning? You need that care. It comforts you to see that people care. And I cannot complain much. Those who were available to support, they managed. But even those who were not supportive, being family, being friends, we need to, have that understanding to say, not everyone is equipped to deal with a challenge like cancer. Some people want to support, but they don't even know where to start.
What was the first thing you say?
They want to phone, they don't even know what to say when they phone. So when people tend not to be as supportive as you would have liked, just forgive and understand that not everyone is equipped to deal with such challenge as cancer.
Now, in your book, you detail different ups and downs, and some of the moments are quite humorous. Especially when it comes to, you mentioned earlier, about the losing of the hair, and there's an incident where you're wearing a wig and you're with your son. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, first thing first, I hate wigs. Naturally, I hate wigs. I don't feel comfortable in wigs. But when you deal with cancer, that process will somehow force you to like even things that you used to hate because of the circumstances that you find yourself in. So I was forced to wear wigs. I remember it was in December 2019. It was so hot, Confidence, it was hot. Then I went with my son to one of the stores in Pretoria CBD. It was so hot I couldn't take it. No, I couldn't take it. Fortunately, that time we had not experienced COVID as yet. So there was no mask. It was just a wig that was so hot. Unconsciously, I removed the wig because of the heat. And, people look at me, they were shocked, they traumatized. It was as if from there, counseling session for them. Because, with a bald head, one looks a bit funny.
It's different,
different if you are not used to. There are people who, they look very nice. They look very nice, but with me,
like me.
I'm talking specifically to the ladies. The ladies, there are those who are beautiful without hair. But unfortunately, I'm not.
You're not one of those.
You see, my ears are big. They were like raiders now. Big ears, small head. Now I remove the wig. People were so traumatized. And as I was holding my wig, the reaction around me reminded me that, hey, when I put on that wig, so I had to quickly put it on. And me being me, I just pretended as if nothing
happened.
And my son was so embarrassed.
Oh, wow.
You know how they are teenagers. He was like, how can you? He just left me there. He went somewhere
to go look for Mazimba.
For Mazimba, because then, as we were driving home, Mommy, no. I said, Papa, be strong. these are the realities of cancer. Be strong, Papa.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. There's another incident with the heels.
With the heels.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Confidence. When I started with my journey, I was a bit depressed because I wasn't sure what I was actually dealing with, what to anticipate. So I had been I didn't worry too much about, not that I was careless, but I didn't worry too much about dressing up and looking nice. It was the least of my worries. Yeah. So as I was busy undergoing radiation therapy, we were fortunate to receive a visit from one NGO, Look Good, Feel Good, something like that, where they gave us makeup lessons and they reminded us of the importance of looking well after yourself, even in the midst of radiation and chemotherapy. From there, I was geared up. I opened my wardrobe. I looked at my at least desirable clothes, and then I started. It was in winter, so I like winter boots. There's a specific pair of boots, yellow in color, very nice. They were brand new. That day I went for chemo, so every time I went for chemo, I used to dress up specifically for chemo to say, cancer today, me and you will see who's nicer.
You were dressed to kill?
To kill, for chemo. Yeah, even if I have to say it so myself, that I used to dress to kill. That day I had my yellow boots on, I had my cream pants on, I had my yellow jacket on. When I left home, my husband said, no, dear, those shoes, there's something. The way you are walking is not normal. I said, leave me. Can't you see that I'm beautiful? Failure to listen and take advice. Yen. My feet were burning in those shoes. It was terrible. I couldn't walk properly. I tried to lock my knees. It wasn't working for me. As I reached the hospital, I tried to, soldier on and be strong and, adopt that posture to say I'm on top of the game. I missed a step. I fell. And people were looking at me. I fell. Imagine in my cream pants. I fell so hard. And then it was stained here on the knees. My bag was somewhere there. I had to grab it. And then I looked around. People were like shocked. I said, stand up, girl. Stand up and lock your knees. You can't give up now. Stood up. I even smiled. I looked at those who were around. Said, good morning, Dumelang. Good morning. With a smile. And I tried to lock my knees. As I got to the hospital, near the elevators, I met Dr. Gan. Mama, you know what's happening? Why are you walking like the kid konzi? And the more he was talking, it was as if he was just
exacerbating
exactly, making the situation unbearable, making it worse. I said, no, doctor, I don't have issues with cons, but I couldn't explain where the problem was. So it was a terrible experience in those boots.
But I guess there's a lesson in that as well, that even if you fall, you always have the option to get up, and there's an attitude that you can adopt, because you could have been visibly embarrassed and trying to now hide, but you chose in that moment to get up, adopt a positive attitude and soldier on. How important is that? You spoke of the psychological warfare that one encounters in the battle against cancer. How important is that?
Ash, I want to put it in a way that I can be understood. Whether we like it or we don't, all of us, we do fall in life. It's part of our life journey. No one can say they had not experienced or they have not experienced falling. And falling is not a problem at all. When you fall, see that as an opportunity for you to learn, to draw lessons, to develop, to measure your resilience level, an opportunity to repent from certain things. Falling can teach us so many things if we are available to learn from that experience. And then also we take note that when one falls, there are so many eyes on you, people who wish you well, for you to rise up and grow and overcome.
Yes.
But equally so, there are those who will say, yeah, we saw this coming. We know she's not going to make it.
Yeah.
She's done. So you need to fight in life. You need to fight because as much as you'd believe that when you are going through difficulties, people around you, they feel the pain. That would be naive to think like that. There are even a few small amount of people who would not even feel pain. So it is important you do it for yourself first, not for those people. For yourself, to say falling is part of the life's journey. It gives me the opportunity to rise up, and when I do, I will even excel more. I will even do better. But also you do it for those people to draw lessons that even when a person is down, don't think it's the end of them, because life belongs to the Almighty. They can still rise up, they can still shine, they can still develop beyond measure, beyond even our expectation. So it is important that, you know, when we fall, we need to embrace that experience. Don't see it as the worst thing that has ever happened to you, as if other people they don't go through the same. All of us, we go through different types of falling. So look at your own experience, see how you can develop from that, rise above the occasion for your own benefit, and also to help those who are not wishing you well to learn from that and repent, and also see that there's no need to write off a person, because God is the only one who can really make the final decision.
I feel like saying amen. Now, you spoke briefly earlier in the interview about the NPO that you've registered. Can you tell us a bit about that? What inspired it? Well, obviously it was inspired by your journey through cancer, but what inspired you to actually take the step of registering and beginning the work of cancer awareness?
You know, like I alluded to earlier on, with cancer, there's still a bit of ignorance around it.
Yes.
Some people, they still think that, no, this is a condition meant for white people. There's still that mentality.
Yes.
So for people like us who've worked the journey, we need to come back and tell people about the same. In view of raising awareness. That's the first thing. So the main reason why I've registered this NPO is to raise awareness. Secondly is to support those who are battling with cancer and their families, because, you know, some of us, we've been very fortunate to serve in organizations such as the SNDF, where when one finds herself dealing with cancer, you know, at least there are institutions or hospitals like 1 Mil where you can get full assistance with the resources available. Yes, but you find that outside it's not as easy as the people are struggling, and, you know, struggling even with things like nutrition. I know with us we also have our own challenges, but it's worse outside. Things like nutrition. Also, you know, as a survivor, I remember I spoke to one doctor at George Mokare, and she said to me, as a survivor, one plays a very important role, because doctors can try to counsel and tell a patient that it will be fine, it will be well. But it's better to hear it from a person who walked the journey, because they know what they are talking about, you understand. The doctor said to me, you know, by talking about your experience, some patients might learn to draw strength. So with my NPO...
can you tell us the name as well?
It's a triple alpha. Avoid ignorance, add financial benefit, and acquire knowledge. Those are the 3 A's. Yes, so with my NPO, currently it's not funded at all. So we are not getting funds from any sponsor or donor. So what we do, we donate money amongst ourselves, and once a week we prepare lunch packs for patients who attend medical oncology appointments at George Mokari, specifically gynec oncology, because they do have different departments, gynae departments, but currently we're working, not gynae departments, oncology departments, but currently we're working with the gynae department. But our wish is to also expand and assist other departments, oncology department. So you find that there are patients who come as far as Mafikeng to attend medical appointments. They leave Mafikeng at around 2 o'clock in the morning and drive to Pretoria, spend the whole day here without meals, exhausted as they are. So we thought it would be good for us to prepare at least a small thing for them to have lunch. So we've started most recently. And it has been very difficult. Using your own funds can never be easy at all. But we hope that things will improve. And also the hospital, the department indicated that they do have challenges with sanitary towels and also Pampers for adults. So we are also trying to see how best can we receive donations on the same. So nutrition, sanitary towels, Pampers. They even talked about TV. So the need is,
it's humongous.
Yeah, exactly.
Immense.
There's a very immense need, which requires serious financial muscle to assist. And at this stage, we can only do so much. But we are hopeful that we will get to a point where we achieve all the objectives.
Wonderful. Colonel, your book, if people want to get hold of it, where? And I think it's also important to speak to people who have the same heart as you in terms of fighting cancer. So where can people get hold of you to get the book, but also if they want to partner with Triple Alpha organization to assist and carry the mission?
My cell phone number is 079-501-6754. 079-501-6754. My email address, my name and surname @yahoo.com. Mmathapelo Maine @yahoo.com. On Facebook, Mmathapelo Maine.
Colonel, thank you so much for having the courage to write the book and having the discipline to finish. And today, here is the product. We congratulate you
so much.
And we thank God for you and the work that you're doing in fighting cancer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was inspirational. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Maine, again for joining us. You've been watching Talk with Confidence right here on Global Conference TV. See you next time. Eitada.